In today's episode, Parker asks, my site's web traffic in Google Analytics is so big in direct traffic. Why? Are people really typing in my website's address that much? This is a very common misconception. People believe that direct traffic is when you type in the URL to a website and go there directly. And that's what it originally meant in Google Analytics. However, direct traffic has become a catch-all for traffic that Google doesn't know what to do with. It's like, okay, there's no source, there's no medium, there's no campaign set, there's no AdWords tags, there's no UTM tags, there's no referring source, so it goes in the direct bucket. So direct traffic should properly be called uncategorizable traffic. Google doesn't know what to do with it, so it lumps it all in the direct bucket. Now, if direct traffic is 50% of your traffic, then you're starting to run into really serious sampling problems where you might be misattributing what's actually working for you because you've got this tracking bug. There are 10-ish sources of direct traffic, of which 4 of them really are under your control, 6 of them are not. So let's go through what these sources are because they're important, and the ones that you can fix, you should fix. Number 1, typing in the URL, of course, is direct traffic. There's no attribution. Number 2, saved bookmarks. When someone clicks on a saved bookmark in their browser, again, that's going to come in as direct. Number 3, secured or encrypted browsers. There are some browsers that, when they're in secure mode or when they're in anonymous mode, for example, privacy mode, they will not be sending referring data, and that's important to know. Number 4, certain email clients. Some mobile email clients like the Mail app on iPhone, some desktop clients like Thunderbird, Outlook, things like that. Any links that don't have UTM tracking links codes built into them will come in as direct because there is no browser. So it's really important. If you are not using a UTM tracking code system, you should be. You absolutely should be. It's the only way to keep your data clean. Number 5 is messaging apps. So WeChat, Line, Kik, Tango, all these new messaging apps, they all have browsers kind of built into them for clicking on a link. But when you tap on that link on your phone, it's direct traffic because those pieces of software don't have attribution. Facebook Messenger does, but it's spotty. And number 6 on the things that are more or less out of your control, non-web content. So if you have PDFs on your website, if you have MP3s on your website, those will show up as direct traffic because you can't put a Google Analytics tracking code in them. Now, the solution to a lot of those problems, at least for things like secure browsers and stuff, is to be using the UTM tracking codes, the Google Analytics tracking codes, in every link that you share, in every link that you publish, so that there's always a tracking code that it can refer to. That's hard. It requires a lot of discipline. It requires you to have spreadsheets or databases or something that as a repository for your links so that things don't go unattributed. But it's the only way to guarantee the attribution for a lot of those things like messaging apps and stuff. So be meticulous about that. Use good marketing automation software. Good marketing automation software typically will have like its own link shortener built in that preserves those tracking codes. So that's important. 4 things you do have control over. Number 1 is untracked web pages. So if you have a page on your website where there is no tracking code, no Google Analytics tracking code, and the visitor goes there first and then goes to another page onto your website where there is a tracking code, guess what? That's direct traffic because your site's essentially referring traffic to itself, and there is no campaign source. There's no source or medium or campaign attached to that. So make sure that every page, or at least every important page on your website, has a Google Analytics tracking code. And there are a number of tools that you can use to do that. I use one called Scrapey. It's a Python script, and you just customize it to make sure that it has the tracking codes checkers in it. A big one is secure to non-secure. So if your website is not using SSL, if you don't have a digital certificate on it, and someone comes to your website from a secure site, so they were on NewYorkTimes.com, right? And that's a secure site. It's got the little lock icon, and they come to you. They click on a link and they come to your website. Guess what? If you don't have a secure website, what happens is Google Analytics says, hey, secure data is coming into an unsecure website. Drop the secure data because we don't want to cause a leak. We don't want to cause interception of the secure data. So without a digital certificate, a proper digital certificate in place, all that website referring data gets lost. So if you are in, for example, the public relations and media relations field, and you have a client who does not have a secure website, you cannot do attribution on your media relations because you have no idea how much is getting lost because that client does not have SSL turned on their web server. So super important that sites have a digital certificate operational and valid. Another one is broken redirects, particularly if you're using a redirect that is client-side, meaning it's JavaScript-based rather than server-side. If someone gets bounced around a bunch of times, stuff may get stripped off, stuff may just get dropped along the way. If it's client-side where the page does a refresh with something like JavaScript, it's definitely not carrying over any referring data, so that becomes direct traffic. And the last one, of course, is link shorteners. When you submit a link to a link shortener, if that link is not tracked, you didn't put those UTM tracking codes, it's going to come in as direct as well. So there are a lot of ways to lose data, and some of them are preventable. All of them can be compensated for in some way with proper use of UTM tracking codes. So it's really important that you use UTM tracking codes. It's important that your website be functional. It's important that your Google Analytics or Google Tag Manager code be operational on every page. And it's important for that website to be secure. Those are the ways that you can minimize the impact of direct traffic. And then once you've done that, then you can go ahead and start doing attribution analysis safely on your website. But without all this stuff in place, it gets super risky. So make sure you follow those steps. If you have questions, please leave them in the comments below. And as always, please make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel and the newsletter. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Want help solving your company's data, analytics, and digital marketing problems? Visit trustinsights.ai today and let us know how we can help you.